So I have been toying with the idea of not making any more Punishing Gray Raven content on the channel for about 2 months now. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and be straightforward with this one and talk about some different things. I've actually recorded this video a couple of different times in a couple different ways, a couple different paths. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is just my perspective as a content creator. I'm going to go ahead and say that the blame is 100% on me of why I won't make certain types of content or why I feel like the content is limited on Punishing Gray Raven. I've toyed with this idea very much. There's a lot of different ways, especially at the beginning, where I was like, it has to be Punishing Gray Raven, right? There has to be things that, like, if it just had more content, I'd be able to make more stuff. I'd be able to think of more things. Why am I only able to make 3 videos a month? It has to be Punishing Gray Raven. And then I've decided that it's not Punishing Gray Raven. It's the fact that I'm not willing to do a couple different things that the content requires for me to make the type of content that Punishing Gray Raven wants. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot of different things that Punishing Gray Raven requires of a person to make dedicated content to the game. You have to be pretty analytical and you have to have a lot of patience for the way that the game plays. There's a lot of different steps, a lot of different things to take into consideration, a couple different paths that you can go as far as making content, whether you want to be educational, entertainment, whatever. But overall, you have to think about the game. You have to play the game for a decent amount of time. You have to understand stuff. And that's just on me, the fact that I wasn't willing to at least be that analytical. I like doing the guide stuff. I like going through some of the different lore stuff, but I didn't want to jump in and do boss guides and all that type of stuff, because honestly, the people who make those types of videos have some sort of crazy analytical mind. They have the patience of gods. I don't know how they can sit there and analyze every single thing. And honestly, it just makes me more appreciative that we have people in the community that are able to make content like that. And it makes me realize that I don't need to make content like that because people already do it really well. And they'll probably do a lot better than I can. And that's just the way that that's going to end up being. So the other side would have to just be, hey, entertainment. Can I make something entertaining? I honestly feel like I could make a lot of different things entertaining, but I thought that eventually it would get to a repetitive point. There's a lot of different events that cycle out and a lot of different game modes basically that cycle out as well, that eventually to get to a point where it's like, okay, I've kind of seen this same song and dance. And I was afraid that I would eventually get to a point where I would either get burnt out or, bored of doing the same thing over and over again, playing Tower of Babel, doing all that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't want to eventually get to a point where I wanted to make content on it all the time. I felt like I would have to dedicate myself just to Punishing Gray Raven to be at a level where it would be entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different factors that go into Punishing Gray Raven. There's a lot of different things that people expect when they're watching gameplay. They don't really want to watch a lot of people that get hit by every single thing, can't dodge for crap, have the lowest level and stuff like that. You have to have a certain level. You don't have to be like the top of the top. You have to have a certain level of understanding of the game and stuff like that. So you got to put a lot of time into it. Now, the flip side of that, there wasn't a lot of time to put into the game when it came to like your dailies and stuff like that, which I initially was blaming the game for when I was thinking about it months ago, when I was like, okay, there's only like 30 minutes to play. How do I even make content on this game? And then I realized that's such a good feature though. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on the game in the first place, is because I have very limited time. I work 40 hours. It gives me a little bit of an idea to jump on for 20-30 minutes, do everything I need to do and get off. And I originally thought like, okay, well, I can make my content around that. I would have like 40 minutes of total playtime, recording time, editing, and I would be done. I would be able to do this YouTube thing and Punishing Gray Raven rather quickly because it doesn't take a lot of time to jump into the game. And then I ended up running into kind of the roadblocks creatively from my own perspective that I didn't want to jump into certain different things the way that it wanted me to play. So the conclusion that I ended up coming to, that it wasn't Punishing Gray Raven, it was more or less like the way that I want to make content does not align with the way that Punishing Gray Raven takes the analytical skill and the time and the effort to jump into it in a certain way. So that is one of the things that kind of gave me the first part of like why I didn't really want to make content on it. The second part, and I'm going to try to tread very lightly on this subject because there's a lot of different moving parts that I understand like Hero Games goes through. I understand that they can't dedicate everything to everybody all the time, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about a personal experience. I'm going to talk about some different things that I went through as a creator that had a certain level of connection with Hero Games, that I was able to talk to them at the very least. And as a lot of you guys know, I had access to the events rather early, about a week early. Gave me a lot of time to be able to jump on there and, make the guides, make the different character stuff, and just gave me an ample amount of time to be able to do all that instead of having to crunch it all into one day and hoping that I was able to get it by the end of the day to provide some sort of use to you guys. So initially it was great. I talked to them. They were really cool. They were able to reach out to a smaller content creator like me. I was like, okay, I'm so privileged to be able to even talk to these guys from the fact that I was like a 2K channel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really that big either. I'm not even that big now. Approaching 5K is not really that big on the grand scheme of YouTube, but it's like, I'm able to talk to these guys. It's cool that they're even talking to me, let alone giving me access to this beta. But then every single event, it almost seemed like it became like, instead of us working together as a collaboration, feeling like we're on mutual terms and being a little bit more valued, that the value that they thought that I brought has either diminished, or they just didn't really care to be able to provide the different things that I kind of needed in order to make the content that I was making. So the thing that I mean by that is the fact that I had to kind of pull teeth basically to get them to give me the APKs right before the event. And usually it would happen, you know, like I was saying, a week before, and we'd be fine, it would be great. But then it started becoming like the night before, and it's like I have to work the next morning. I don't have a lot of time to do this in the middle of the night. I have to have a little bit more time, and I would discuss it and stuff like that. And they'd be like, all right, cool. Yeah, we get it. And then the next time it would come, it's like, man, I got to pull this guy's teeth in order to get it. And it just became one of those things where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just not even going to worry about it. I'll just do it on my own account. And then it just kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just not even going to do it. I don't care about the event that much to be able to even grab, you know, the guides and stuff like that aren't really providing a lot of educational value to you guys. And I just felt like they're becoming more obsolete. So I was like, whatever, I just won't worry about it and I'll move on. And then it's just kind of flooded with the fact that maybe I just don't want to make content at all for the game because of that. And on the flip side of that is just the, you know, the fact that the marketing has been lackluster for global. It feels like we're really carrying the back of the game on a lot of different content creators and stuff like that. And it really feels like there's an obligation from a content creator's perspective to be able to carry this game and at least try to market it and try to reach. And it's like a lot of us are like 2 to 5K channels. We don't have a lot of reach. You know, it's not like I'm reaching millions and millions and millions of people. So a lot of the people who are watching my videos are people who watch from launch and just a lot of people who relatively love the game already. I'm not converting anybody to play the game, you know, so that became one of the things where you could see what they were doing with CN. It's obviously their baby, their bread and butter. And a lot of the leftovers just came to global with poorly translated videos and stuff like that. And a lot of different content creators reach out and like, hey, you got to do something different. And they're reluctant. They don't want to do it. I understand 100% that they have a certain budget. They have certain things that they have to do. I totally get that. But it's hard to love a game and have a community love it and watch this community love this game so much. And then the devs just be like, I don't know what to tell you. There's only so much we can do. And it really just feels like it's a bottleneck between the community and the devs and who's going to give up first. And it's ultimately, I feel like, becoming the community that's like, okay, you know what, whatever, I'll play the game. I'm not going to expect too much out of it. I like the game. I like the different things. And that's basically going to be it. So I haven't come to a final conclusion. I feel like I still need a couple more days to decide. Maybe this video and the comments and stuff like that will give me an idea of what direction to kind of go into. But at the very least, I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions and see what you guys feel as a community and go from there. But anyway, I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.